people that could do great interviewers are now becoming the media.
Yes. Everybody's media. Summer Walker's media. Cameron's running like he's Stephen A. Smith. It's what we're dealing with.
Why are you saying like he's Stephen A? Why he not running around like Cameron?
Cameron to be that.
That's what people be mad at you about when you say like that.
Which I think he should lean into. Be the old villain.
OD, that was hate.
You know what I'm saying? That's why I think people be mad at you.
Oh, it's hate.
Cam is running around like he's Stephen A. Smith. No,
why is he a sports journalist? Because he has an opinion? Why?
But
him and Mace have proved to have a good opinion that people care about.
He got Mace having a job and really like check because the bag is there.
But Elliot, you don't think that we all come from the culture of we all sit around in our neighborhoods in front of our buildings?
But Mark, don't make you a journalist.
But I'm just saying we all sit around in our groups with our friends and talk about
our
sports,
opinions, yes.
music. That's all these guys are doing right now.
But that's not fair. Is Shannon Sharp a journalist?
No, but that's the
Or
easier
does he have
bridge.
experience from it?
That's where the athlete becomes the media. That's the easier Charles Barkley. That's easier transition.
So why is it easier for the athlete but not the artist?
It's not easy, but I don't like it because, like, you imagine, like, this is what I do well, and not everybody want to do it, and they get the celebrity off their.
You like it because you feel like they're not coming to the journalists to have this conversation.
I'm real with that,
which affects your bottom line.
The best I ever do is me with that. So then you want to be that off celebrity of what? So I can talk about that. I don't like that, and not be a hater.
Yeah.
It's reality.
Yeah.
Now this is pure hate. This is straight pure hatred. I just want to get that off. But apparently, there's more to the conversation.
I don't like it.
You don't like it because you don't think they're good at it?
I know I'm better at it.
Okay.
It's me. It's my life.
Okay.
But Elliot, what
Imagine
would make you better at it? Because in this day and age, it's just not about getting the information right. It's about who's more entertaining. So who are you to say I'm better at this than them? When what?
I'll prove it to you. I'm better than you. Like I'm the best. I'm more informed.
Are you better at telling a story? Are you better
100%.
at getting accurate?
They're not better. Like that shit cringeworthy. I watch it. Not good.
Yo,
Shit ain't popping. It ain't popping.
I don't agree.
What's the Cameron interview? Was like, yo, Cameron really asked the questions. Like, what are you talking about? No.
But what interview did Cam take away from something of let's say we're the hip hop ilk? Even if Maul and I aren't journalists, we're still in hip hop media. You are a hip hop journalist. What interview did Cam take away from us?
They have celebrity has access to different things that I may not have. And again, I do feel like they underperform.
See, I think I have to push back. I have to push back there because you have had 25 years of relationships with publicists, PR interviews.
30.
The three majors where Cam is a celebrity and has, relationships for him being in the game for 30 years. But you have direct relationships with the majors that the rest of the podcasting world never had. So you still do have that. I think we have to go back to the period at the end of the sentence of what the fans want. And with Cam or Young Miami, maybe they just want to be entertained. With Kai, they just want to be entertained. They don't want to be informed. They don't want to be informed.
The access goes to them above me. That's the problem I have. That's what it comes down to. You see what I'm saying? Because it seems sexy, like, yo, Cam's a sports reporter now. Hey, woo,
okay, but let's not act like that's not always been hip hop or entertainment at the time. We've seen things that were hot and
I want a shot. I'm in this. I'm still here.
That's what I thought. Now, there's a lot of parallels between this and, sports journalism and things of that nature. And there might be some credibility to what he's saying. First of all, do y'all think that there is a difference between players turning into podcasters and taking away these journalism roles and rappers doing the same thing? I don't think there's too much of a difference.
You said players and rappers. No, I don't think there's a difference at all.
Yeah, maybe the best devil's advocate argument I could have is that the rappers doing it have a different tone to it. Like the basketball players, they're going to just tell stories and they're going to just tell you the ins and outs of the game. And they're going to try to come off as like the educational person that like, hey, this person doesn't know basketball, but I played it. The rappers, they're just going to tell you like what their life was, which already itself sounds similar. So no, I don't think it's anything different.
I think it's actually more drastic within the sports world, just because I think sports specifically, because of how it is and the nature of what it is, as opposed to music, which is like a more subjective medium. Like I know there's subjectivity in basketball, but analytic driven music. Is a lot of it is vibes. I do think it's worse within the sports realm because of that. Like, people respect a JJ Redick coming into the space because he's been in the game for much longer. And as you know, he can eloquent his points properly and all of that. But when it comes to music, like, the barrier of entry to be an authority figure is much lower. So that's why I don't think they're having as much trouble with like a Lil Yachty coming into the space. Me personally.
You know what's funny though, because and maybe this is where gatekeeping really has to step in, because not disrespecting him in this sense. I might have disrespected him in other senses. Theo Pinson, like, people would have arguments, the same argument and pushback for like Theo Pinson starting a podcast, but would be more receptive and okay of like a Matt Barnes starting a podcast, or if a Kobe started a podcast. Now, rest in peace. But you know, Theo Pinson has only been in the league 3. Is it been 4? I'm gonna look it up. But
Been in or been out?
In. He was only in the league for, was this 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 years. He did a 5-year bid from 23 to 27. So he had been in the league for just 5 years, but he's able to have a podcast. And you know, ultimately what I'm saying is, if I'm not mistaken, Bezos, you were saying that it's the barrier of entry to become a rap authoritarian figure, speaker, orator, whatever, is much lower. Isn't that the same case in basketball though? Because a lot of folks got their podcast and they only been around for 2 years.
A lot of whatchamacallit. There is a lot of people that don't have the authoritative background in basketball. So I'm not saying it's not possible to create a space within basketball without being, you know, an NBA player. I just think it affects it more because of the nature of sports, if that makes sense.
I could kind of see that. I don't agree. I'm with you, Damo. I don't necessarily agree, but I can see where you come from. I'm not gonna act like that's a shit point you made, in the sense of, in basketball, it's more, or sports, I'm sorry, it's more definitive that if a player says something, that you take that more severely and more seriously than if a rapper says something, because it's kind of like, well, I listen to music too, LOL. So yeah, it's I see where you're coming from. That's not.
I would just say, I mean, we've seen it. We've seen all these academics, no jumpers, people like that who have established platforms that have been around for a decade at this point, close to a decade, that see and respect it. But then a Lil Yachty can make a podcast and talk, and people respect that more because he is Lil Yachty. Or hell, not even Lil Yachty, a lesser rapper can make a podcast and have points, and if he discredits one of them, the narrative changes. It will change, just like with basketball, just like with Theo Pinson. If Theo Pinson says, "Let's keep it about, don't know shit about hoop," guess what that clip gonna look like when the NBA players that know Theo Pinson get a hold? All right, I know Theo. I don't know these niggas. So they're gonna pack that. So it's gonna look real bad.
I thought you said they was gonna pack Theo up. I think,
but that's what I'm saying though. I think that's
like, actually, I watch Keep It a Buck.
It's the same in the music space though. So people will see if Trinidad James started a podcast and he said, "I'm not gonna lie to you, this nigga academics don't really know what the fuck he talking about." People will hop on the bandwagon, but maybe they just hate act. So maybe I should use someone else that isn't hated. But just it's the same. It honestly translates.
No, I agree with you. That's why I said I overall disagree, but I at least see where he's coming from.
Well, also music has like a level of objectivity subjectivity. I'm sorry, that basketball just doesn't. Like, objectively speaking, from an NBA player's perspective, Theo Pinson, I'm not picking on him, is lesser than Gilbert Arenas, I guess, or Matt Barnes or Steven Jackson or whatever.
Sure.
So maybe that's why I there's sentiments that I do agree with when it comes with Elliott Wilson. But before we get into those, can I ask, is there a threshold from the hosts or whatever that you would have to have in order for you to listen to a podcast? I know people are gonna be like, y'all motherfuckers ain't never did nothing. Why would I listen to y'all? But I'm asking, is there like certain thresholds that you'll have before you'll say to yourself, I'll tap in.
It depends on the topic of the conversation and how hard they're going on said thing. So whether it's hoops or music. If niggas is about to sit here and say X, Y, and Z is ass at basketball, cool. I can listen to whoever it is talk about why X, Y, and Z is bad at basketball, but at a certain level, it's gonna be just, all right, this nigga is just trying to entertain. Versus if I listen to JJ Redick go on the Old Man in the Three or Duncan Robinson, whoever it is, if I listen to an NBA player go on a podcast and talk about why X, Y, and Z is bad, I'm going to take that way more literal, or I'm going to believe them because they shared a court with this person. Now, unless it's Draymond and he's talking about the nigga he choked, I'm going to be like, there's no real bias there. Like there's a level of, okay, he's actually doing this that I'm just not going to get if I go watch Mars talk about why X, Y, and Z sucks.
I would say I think this is actually a pretty good one. I can't watch Flight and Kai do a basketball pod.
That's true too.
I think it just depends on what you're looking for. Like if you are looking for entertainment, then the barrier is much lower. As long as you can entertain me.
Well, I'm talking you personally. I know, Brian.
Me personally, if I'm looking for a sports podcast to entertain me, Brian, all right, the barrier is much lower. As long as you can entertain me with how you have the conversations, how you appear on camera, then fuck it, I'm gonna listen to you. But if I'm coming in and I'm trying to look for something more informative, I'm trying to look for something more advanced, and I could just tell by your conversations that like the detail isn't there, then yeah, I'm probably gonna tap out.
Come on, brother, it's 2025. What's Lodo like? Put a combination out there. Put some names on some bullets. Is the Flight Kai Speed basketball podcast?
Yeah, I'm not listening to them fucking like analyze basketball in a serious way.
But even if it was for the sillies,
they gotta be real funny.
They gotta be real silly.
Real funny. Yeah.
Gotta be super silly.
And the NBA jokes gotta make sense at least. You know what I'm saying? Like if
you imagine Speed, Curry's like Messi, Ronaldo.
What?
So as you don't get those laughs, backflip to the desk.
Jokes just gotta make sense at least. So.
Yeah, as long as I feel like for me, as long as they're tapped in, as long as whoever I'm watching, I at least feel watches to a degree, and not the way that like, you know, NBA Twitter or chat will be like, you don't watch the game. No, as long as I feel like, okay, you probably did see this game tonight, or okay, you've seen a couple of games. Then yeah, if you're funny, cool. If you're not, be smarter, nigga. That's about it.
Hey, Souls, man, I need your help.
What's going on?
Look, man, it's the holiday season. I'm running low on funds. I can edit a video. I can write out some analytics. Like, what can I do for you, man? What can I do?
Well, luckily, with our sponsors at PrizePicks, you can actually win a lot of money on their app. This is our favorite way to play daily fantasy sports.
Bezos, how is that going to help me now?
With quick withdrawals, easy gameplay, and an enormous selection of players and statistics to choose from, PrizePicks definitely has your daily fantasy sports needs covered. It's pretty easy to make lineups on PrizePicks. They have a bunch of different sports you can choose from, and then within those sports, they have a bunch of different categories. You can go to points, rebounds, assists, and if you really know what you're doing, all you got to do is click more or less on your favorite player, and you can win a bunch of money on PrizePicks. All you got to do is select more, select less, just make sure they're not on the same team, put in the amount you're comfortable with, and press submit lineup to submit a lineup.
Oh, snap. I'm going to be good this holiday season, and it's all thanks to PrizePicks. Shouts out to PrizePicks, man. I don't know. Okay.
The way I consume content is pretty much, I've always said my origin story is I'm a chat nigga that went go live. So maybe that's just like what I fuck with, because I don't really have like this high standard for like basketball or anime or whatever my interests are. I just want to, like, honestly, I'm a barbershop talker. I'm a Yap Hall of Famer. I just want to hear people's opinions on shit, whether I agree, disagree, think they're smart, stupid, or anything in between. I just want to hear people's opinions on shit.
I think that at some point, like, I can listen to that person or whatever the case may be. Like, I could listen to that conversation, right? But when we're talking about consistently coming back, because like the Chris PG1 dude that like me and Damo and B-Souls reacted to that one time, I thought that was so hilarious. My brother, I ain't been back since. Like in that moment, it was funny. Like the way he was talking about basketball, Snow Bunny lore, Skittles lore. Like, yeah, that was cool. But I'm gonna tell you something. It's just sounding like you know what you're really talking about. I go back to like the Dunked On podcast as often as possible. Now, I do want to ask, do y'all think that is missing out of all of these spaces, is like this professional aspect? Because I will personally say I am tired of them feeling as if they can create these moments with these celebrity faces or names or whatever. Like the Summer Walker Sexy Red podcast. It might just be Summer Walker's podcast, but especially for somebody who's an introvert, the Summer Walker podcast is taken away from like real hip hop journalism for real.
I would say no, because the people that want to do a professional setting, they're going to do that. Or more professional setting for a podcast or a show, they're going to do that. Let the people that just want to have fun. If that's not for you, just don't watch it.
Yeah, I think, and this no disrespect to her, but I didn't even know she had a pod. So I think the answer is no, because it's just a matter of, hey, gang, oh shit, if you're a Summer Walker fan, you probably know she has a podcast, but most people know about ACK or whatever the fuck, but they didn't even know. And I'm not disrespecting her. It's just like, Summer Walker the artist, Summer Walker the celebrity, you didn't really know she was a podcaster unless you're that tapped in and you want to hear her. And I think that's just how it is with the podcast shit nowadays when it comes to professional artists or professional basketball players or whatever taking podcasts. It's, do you really, 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 really care what this specific person has to say? Then go watch the pod. Otherwise, swipe up, nigga.
Yeah, and I would agree, because like even as I say it, it sounds super parasocial, but I also feel like that's why I have a connection to some of my like favorites. And I'm older now, so it's like, fuck that nigga, he a capitalist. But at the same time, when I was younger, how I got into some of these people is because people asked them interview questions, hard hitting questions, follow ups, did their research, whatever. Like I think that a lot of people know their favorite artist more because of Nardwar, because he is an example of somebody who does like real investigative research to find out who that artist is. But in the space of, not to shit on her again, Summer Walker doing her podcast, she ain't doing that. She asking you gay son, thought daughter, and do you purple drink or orange drink?
Can I ask, would you consider what No Jumper was doing during the SoundCloud era as real journalism in terms of rap, in terms of the interviews he was getting?
Exactly. Yeah, that was TV.
Well, no. I don't know why you think I would know what No Jumper was doing during the SoundCloud era. That's your
I
first
can't get
mistake.
mad at that.
That's your first
I'm
mistake,
just
brother.
asking. I don't know. I didn't know you like Tyler. I don't know, man. You never know.
I don't like Adam, so I don't even know why you.
But it could have been a time where it's like, all right, well, you don't like SoundCloud, so I mean, I guess it was.
Why do you say that? I told Travis to go on SoundCloud.
And right there, trap card activated. So you don't hate SoundCloud. So me thinking that you would have seen a SoundCloud rapper go on No Jumper, I would figure you seen a SoundCloud rapper go on No Jumper that you did like.
My hate for Adam puts it on top.
Outweighs the love for that SoundCloud rapper. That's cool.
But yeah, I'm gonna listen to the Lil Peep. Go ahead, Bezos. I'm sorry.
Whoa, not too much. Not too much.
God. I think the reason why like rappers are making podcasts and athletes are making podcasts is exactly because of Elliott Wilson's thoughts. That's my opinion. Just because I feel like that mentality of I do this better than you because I ask these like at times very invasive questions. I think that's why like artists and athletes want to create a space where they feel comfortable sharing their own story as opposed to going to these set interviews and they're getting interrogated and people are trying to farm for the headline. Like what did happen in your last relationship? Like if I don't feel comfortable talking about that, I'm not gonna talk about that. And you can count it as me, not telling the truth, because I understand we have been critical of like a podcast, Paul George's podcast, right? Like, all right, you're podding, but you're not really podding for real. But I do think that's why these spaces are being created, is because these people want to control their own narrative. And I don't blame them for that. I think that's the reason why Angel Reese started her own podcast too. Fuck all these journalists and internet journalists trying to tell my story. I'm gonna just tell it straight up.
My counter to that, my only counter to that would be, do you think that this is contributing to the lack of superstardom in all these areas? Because it's all surface level. It's all, I give you what you want. And I get it. If that's how you want to live your life and et cetera, that's fine. But you need to be challenged, pressed, and made to be more, I don't want to say human, but human, going down the paths that the old guard did. So with that being said, like you can't just, I'm not gonna go on this person's platform. I'm not gonna go on this person's platform. Yeah, I'm pandemic P or whatever type of P, and I'm gonna do X, Y, and Z on my own platform instead of really facing the real criticisms. Don't you think that hinders people's ability to grow as a superstar?
Yeah, I think democratizing media, and I understand like there's obviously pros to it, but yeah, democratizing media is making it harder to create superstars. But I don't necessarily think it's a bad thing that they are democratizing the space of it, if that makes sense. Like if we're looking at it in the scope of why can't there be another Michael Jackson, that could be a part of it. But do I blame them for doing it? No.
Not trying to get no paper for real. That's all I heard. Okay. I feel it. Have you heard J. Cole's podcast, Damo on Stage?
J. Cole's a podcast?
No.
I heard he just
I heard it now. I will be there.
He has a podcast. I don't know. I'm looking at it right now because I've heard the snippets of it, and he gives like, I don't know who's doing it, but he gives like really good retellings as to his come up and just different moments in his life, et cetera, et cetera. But it's
we are there.
It's really good storytelling, and I'm actually interested as a non-J. Cole fan to hear just about old hip hop. But from what I heard, it sounds like they're really getting into the meat and potatoes.
So this is something I've been like thinking about, and it was almost a pseudo hot take of the week, but I didn't know how to explain it for a vast like blank thing like hot take of the week. But like when it comes to this podcast shit specifically, it's almost like you have to kind of be him or her for people to fuck with you doing a pod. Cause I'm starting to see like low key niggas will have an issue with like and this ain't even just like a hidden dig at Omar or whatever the fuck, but like for example, Angel Reese started a pod, niggas like Angel Reese, or Theo Pinson you've been talking about, or Summer Walker started a pod, is like them. But then when it's like Yachty, who he was like one of the bigger names when the mumble rapper shit started. Oh shit, well Yachty got a pod. Okay, hold on. J. Cole starts one. It's like, oh shit, hold on. Or like if LeBron retires and he starts his pod for real, like he keeps it going. I don't know if he still uploads, but yeah, if like LeBron and Reddick's still there. Oh yeah, we respect that. Is it like a you gotta be him thing going on, or is it just execution?
No, it's execution. It's the content that's being created on the podcast will always dictate how the public receives it or if people really fuck with it. Case in point, Cam and Mace are not him. When they started their pod, I was not a fan. I was like, all right, bro, these niggas just about to come up here and be 50-year-olds saying pause. I guess. The longer it went on, the more clips come out, the more I watch it, I actually like the shit. Shit's cool. Jeff Teague podcast, I'm like, yeah, all right, buddy. It's Jeff Teague. But then Jeff Teague is telling these stories. The nigga's funny. B-Hen's funny. They got good chemistry. And I'm like, okay, I fuck with it. Paul George, I think it's him. I'm not listening to that shit.
Relative him. Yeah.
Relative him to this era. To this generation.
Yeah, okay. I'm
not listening to that nigga. Because the content's just not what I like. I'm not gonna say his ass. It's just ass to me.
I'm about to say, yeah, I think Dama may not like it, but from a numbers perspective, like Paul, well, maybe not now. Once they went remote, shit kind of. But like their numbers it is indicative of like they're a successful podcast. To answer Sage's question, I think there's just levels to it. Like for real. I think if there's a hierarchy, it's the authoritative figure that is entertaining and informative. I think the level below that is the authoritative figure that's just entertaining. Level below that is, I don't know, the media member that's extremely informative. And then the level before that is the media member that's extremely entertaining. Like I think those specific categories kind of cap you off. I think that's how I think about it in the sports realm. I think that's also how I feel about it in the fucking music realm.
And let me also say, I mean, it's a little bit of a repeat of everything that everybody said. It's about your delivery. It's about how you speak on things, go about having things, et cetera, et cetera. And sometimes the best podcasts don't come from those that are him. To be honest with you, I don't necessarily want the conversation to come from him. because I'm under the belief that,
See that.
and this is the problem with like uber famous people, uber wealthy people, is that they feel like I was successful here, so everything that I touch will be successful. And to be honest with you, that's quite often not the case. You were popular in one regard, and you hit lightning in the bottle. Most of the time you're not going to be able to do that twice. Now, some people can hit it twice. Never going to take that away from them. But with that being said, you can't bank on the fact that you're going to be good at this other thing, especially when there are professionals and people who studied in those fields. I think this wouldn't exist in any other platform where, okay, I just did this career. Let me come over here with little to no proof of concept and just take over this thing. That's not how that works. It's just not how that works.
Good answers. I ain't gonna lie.